Australia's Southern Ocean is as dangerous as they come. What lures local fishermen here is something they call living gold. Southern bluefin tuna. One fish can be worth up to 75,000 US dollars. An entire pen, more than 10 million. This is not easy money.
The diver's just got to watch himself while he's in there.
6 weeks being tossed around the ocean.
I'm expecting to get a bit worse.
Cramped quarters.
No!
The chance of coming back empty-handed.
There's been nothing on the echo sound, there's nothing on the sonar.
And wrestling sharks
Good fun, mate.
with your bare hands.
Yeah.
These guys are a breed apart. The Kingfish tuna boat has been at sea for almost 3 weeks. She's 115 miles out on Australia's notorious Southern Ocean. Kingfish is one of 3 boats that will round up live tuna worth over $20 million on the Japanese fish markets. Saxon S is the bait boat. Her hold is full of live sardines. The crew of Saxon S finds the tuna and lures them towards the net. The Independence is the catch boat. Her job is to run a massive wall of net around Saxon S, the bait boat, and the shoal of tuna. The bottom of the net is pulled shut while Saxon S leaves through a gate on the surface. The fish are then transferred to the transport pen being towed by Kingfish. In just one trip, the fishermen can bring home over 240 tons of live tuna. After they've been fattened up at the tuna farms, they're sold to Japan and turned into sushi and sashimi. So far, the boats have made just one catch.
The fish size looks pretty good. Probably about 19 to 20 kilo average.
The first haul was 60 tons, not nearly enough. They need 180 tons more before they can return to port. It's day 18, and if the weather doesn't improve soon, they'll be stuck at sea for weeks to come.
The conditions just aren't quite good enough to get the fish up.
You can only spot tuna when they come to the surface to sunbathe. It's been 4 days of gray skies and rough seas.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So we've been going up and down all day long. You know, everyone's starting to get a little frustrated.
To make matters worse, plowing up and down the ocean has drained Kingfish's fuel tanks.
The Kingfish has been out here for about 18 days. The boat holds about 45,000 litres of fuel. They've already burnt 25,000 litres of fuel. So it was best to send them in to recharge the batteries, put more fuel on, put more fresh water on, rather than us go in because we've only been out here 7 or 8 days.
With Kingfish gone, Saxon S must tow the transport pens. That means she can't search for tuna. Even if the weather improves, there'll be no fishing until Kingfish returns. For the Kingfish crew, fueling up will provide a much-needed break from the monotony of life at sea. Skipper Mark sets a course. They'll be traveling all night and most of the next day before they reach land. The small town of Streaky Bay is a favorite amongst the tuna fishermen. As the Kingfish pulls in, the pressure of catching $20 million worth of tuna slips away. The guys have just one thought in their minds: cold beer. The Kingfish is back towing the tuna pens. Despite lingering hangovers, the night ashore has done the crew good. It's looking like they won't get another cold beer for a long time to come. The weather has gone from bad to worse. The ocean is a tough master, and despite the conditions, there's work to be done. The holding pens have been bashed around in the storm, and the divers must check for damage.
You all right, mate?
On days like this, the best place to be is underwater.
Leaving surface. Hey, there's a couple of holes in there.
The holes were caused by intruders, and they're still in the building.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of sharks.
Bronze whaler sharks, unable to resist the captive tuna, have bitten their way in.
Yeah, right to Damo.
Keep a good eye out, see how many there are, might be a few.
Damo's dive buddy, Mick, keeps watch. Loaded shark gun at the ready. One shark is trapped in the net. It's totally exhausted, but Damo knows it could still lash out with sudden ferocity.
Yeah, just taking it nice and slow. Never know with these things. They can snap at us at any time. Yes, there he goes. Reckon he'll be alright though.
As Damo gets to work repairing the net, the other sharks come in to investigate.
Yeah, they're a bit curious. Yeah, I keep looking around and I had one just turn right next to me before.
The divers won't attempt to remove the two sharks. Bronzies don't like being confined. With luck, they'll bite their way out again in the next few hours. On the bridge of Saxon S, Marcus's worries are just as pressing. They've been at sea for almost 3 weeks, and rough weather means they've made only one small catch. Boats from other fishing companies are having the same problem. Marcus doesn't want to give them any help.
Yankee Doodle, you there, Kiwi? You read me, Kiwi?
Yankee Doodle, Marcus.
Are you on this one?
Kiwi, who were you talking to on the other radio over?
I was talking to Ernie.
Yeah, mate, don't tell him anything, even about the fishing and that, you know, up to the southeast. I mean, we might have to end up back there yet, you know? I think they all call you up and want information, mate. You know, they give us nothing. We give them nothing as well.
Boredom is the main problem for the crew. But old hands like Steve have seen it all before.
Yeah, mate, this is nothing. You know, like I've been out here one time. Yeah, we finished up one decent day or 2 half days of fishing in 6 weeks.
I suppose that's fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
All in the hands of the weather gods.
Yeah.
The tuna wranglers are getting desperate. Millions of dollars are on the line, and the migrating tuna are rapidly slipping from their grasp. For the boss, Marcus, the hunt has become an obsession. He's taken to spending long hours in the crow's nest, scanning the empty ocean. Below decks, the crew plays cards to pass the time.
This is a deal from hell.
But when 7 men are cooped up for days on end, it's inevitable they'll get on each other's nerves.
Yes, it is, because it is.
It's been really boring, keeping yourself amused, gotta just go and annoy people, watch a few movies, play cards, stuff like that.
The only thing we do out here to keep ourselves amused is do probably a lot of watching videos in their off time, do a bit of Xbox, read some novels we've got here, fine novels indeed.
People bloody go into the fridge 50 million times a day for no good reason. They just stand there and open the fridge and look at it and then shut it and walk away again.
It's 9 days since the first catch, and the tuna are still nowhere to be seen. The crew is becoming increasingly frustrated.
It's just getting a bit drawn out. Starting to try on our patience a bit, but we just have to stick it out. As long as everyone can stay positive, it's the main thing.
With costs escalating out of control, Marcus is forced to take a gamble.
Okay, Mark, are you guys ready to go?
Yeah, roger, Marcus, you get me?
Yeah, roger, Mark. Look,
Can you please head to 33 degrees, 50 minutes south, and 132.
30 east.
Yeah, no worries there, Marcus.
It's just not happening in this area. It's a beautiful day today, but we've been trolling up and down all day long. There's been nothing on the echo sound, there's nothing on the sonar. My information is there's a dozen patches or so up to the southeast, about 60 miles. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head on up there. We're going to pick up our anchored cage up to the southeast, and tomorrow morning we're going to be Johnny on the spot first thing in the morning, and we're going to rip into some fish.
It's a big call. With 2 pens in tow, Kingfish can only do about 2 knots. Even though the current will be with them, it'll be an agonizingly slow trip. Marcus must also move his catch boat, the Independence. The boats will take all night to reach the new position. By morning, the fleet is relocated. Marcus will find out if moving them was the right decision.
A couple of ripplers down to the southeast. One at 33, 20, 10. There's probably a 30 tonner. I put down about 18 kilos, and there's some reasonable shines down the bottom.
Time to take a sample and check on size.
too small, so no luck. So we'll try again.
It's a disappointment. Small fish cost more money to fatten up back at the farm in Port Lincoln. They'll have to pass on this shoal.
Yankee Doodle, Marcus, are you on this one? Roger, mate.
I got a really nice patch at 33.09.24, 131.34.30. There's at least 30 tonne, and I reckon they go from 20 to 25 kilos. It's probably some of the best fish I've seen this season.
Saxon S moves as quickly as she can to the new position.
Saxon S. It's a good
Solar patch, I reckon it's well over 50 tonne, maybe even a bit more. It's out to
to the southeast of you guys there.
We've got some really nice, we got a really nice patch of fish here. I've just come down from the crow's nest. We got fish about 10 or 12 boat lengths behind the back of the boat. I would say we've got at least 100 tonne of fish behind us, and it's all looking good, so we'll get a shot away shortly, I'm sure.
The crew's already in action, frantically baiting the water to keep the tuna around the boat. There are plenty of fish, but are they large enough?
Yeah.
It's a big one. The boys are back in business. The drought has finally broken.
22 and a half.
22 and a half, Roger. Hopefully a good size. Wrap them up, put them in the cage. Finally do something.
Finally got a decent patch underneath us, so should be good. We'll get home sooner or later.
Bit of a relief for sure. We needed to find one, so everyone's a little bit happy now, but we've got to wrap it up and get it in the net.
The Independence, Marcus's catch boat, is close by. The skipper, Zoran, and his crew are ready for action. On Saxon S, Pete keeps tabs on the baiting. The fish could bolt at any time.
That's okay, slide down a little bit now.
Yeah, Zoran, if you receive me.
Roger, Marcus.
I reckon we got fish 8 or 10 boat lengths behind the back of the boat.
Yeah, no problem. They come closer and we'll be ready for you.
Okay, guys, get ready. We got 45 seconds. Let's go.
The nets are on their way. This is when tuna fishermen say their prayers. The tuna could still dive, and they'd lose them. Just like any other fishing, catching tuna is part skill, part luck.
My money's looking good. Marcus offered me a bet this morning. $200 down for $1,000 back if we didn't catch fish. I'm glad I didn't take it, because it looks like we're going to shoot this lot in.
The tuna are now surrounded by a wall of net. But until the bottom is drawn shut, they can still escape.
Okay, pull.
Zoran sends a diver in to make sure the net isn't scraping the fish. Scratches or scars on a tuna greatly reduce its value. The kingfish divers are waiting nearby for a chance to get in and have a look at their catch. With the fish safely in the net, Saxon S makes her way out.
Okay, right now we're just popping straight over the top of the cork line because we've just finished up pursing. We've just pulled the gears out of gear so the propeller's not spinning. So I'm going to quickly have a look now and make sure we haven't ripped the net. But it all looks pretty good to me. So we've got the fish.
Maddie, Marcus's chief diver, is already in the water, assessing the tuna for size and quality. Diving at this stage of the operation is dangerous. The net is still being pulled in, so Maddie must keep well clear of the edge. A couple of tuna have already got caught up. Unfortunately, they won't survive, and the fishermen must throw them away. A hammerhead shark scores a free meal. Hammerheads are often the first on the scene. That distinctive hammer-shaped nose heightens its sense of smell. Maddie's used to having sharks around. He's got more serious worries. As the enormous school of fish swirls around him, it creates a powerful downward vortex, a whirlpool that could drag him to the bottom of the catch net, some 300 feet below. It would be an ironic death, a fisherman drowned by his own catch. Up top, the guys are edgy. Word's gone out, it's a massive haul. Millions of dollars are on the line, and this is the catch that could get them home. If everything goes to plan, the tuna boats are about to land a massive catch. The fishermen nervously wait for the report from Maddie, head diver. If Maddie doesn't think the fish are the right size or quality, they'll have to let them go.
I can see fish going all the way to the bottom, which is a pretty big shot. Average size, got to be close to 18.
All right, Maddie, thanks for that. That's really good. The guys will be stoked.
The tuna are a perfect size and in prime condition. The battle's half won, but there's still a lot that can go wrong. As the divers join the transport pen to the catch net, the water boils with a massive fish trying to escape. Zoran has to be careful. If he pulls the catch net in too quickly, it could collapse and suffocate the tuna.
Slow, don't worry.
As the fish move into the transport pen, the divers can see there are many more than expected. The first pen is soon filled, and Kingfish brings the second alongside. Finally, the catch is locked away. It's a huge one, almost 150 tons. Marcus is a very happy man.
Look, it's been a long time between dreams, but that's how it is with fishing. You sit out here and you wait and wait and wait, and it's no good, and then all of a sudden you get that one magical day. And tomorrow we're going to get another day, and it's good night, Irene. It's time to go home, and that's what it's all about.
But as every fisherman knows, if you catch fish one day, it doesn't mean you'll catch them the next. There's still 30 tons of fish to be caught before the boys can turn for home. By mid-morning of the following day, they're on to another school of tuna.
We've got a good spot of fish on the sonar. You can see a nice big spot of tuna, and then you can see the net encompassing the patch of fish.
Things are looking good, but they still have to get the fish in the bag.
Everybody's thinking the same thing. This could be the shot that sends us home, but we're all pretty much ready to go now. We've had enough.
Should be a good 40 tonne of fish here, and it's a bloody good feeling. And so another 20 minutes, we're going to know.
Maddie's already in the water, assessing the quality of the fish. Everything depends on his verdict.
Yeah, Roger Marcus, just been in with the fish. Size, it's all in that size range we were catching, so they look all right to go in.
Okay, boys, good stuff. You've done a good job. We got another 30 tonne in the last shot, so she's all over Red Rover. We're going home, boys.
Yeah. 3 beers tonight.
Good shout.
At long last, the fishing is over. On Kingfish, the crew phones home to share the good news.
Hello, how are you?
If nothing goes wrong and they aren't hit by storms, they should be home in 2 weeks. Oki's not so sure. His end-of-the-day checkup reveals that Saxon S hasn't got enough fuel for the big trip home. They must head to the nearest port and diesel up. While Saxon S is away, Kingfish must tow both pens. It's a heavy load, and she'll make almost no progress. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Saxon S arrives in the nearest port to refuel. With the tuna pens full, Marcus takes the opportunity to head back to Port Lincoln. He needs to prepare the tuna farm for the boat's return. Pete's already checking on Kingfish. He's anxious to get back to her and help with the pull. The Kingfish is hardly moving. With 2 full transport pens under tow, she's hauling 240 tons of tuna. The divers are working harder than ever, and things are about to get dangerous. Looking after 2 full tuna pens worth $20 million is a nerve-wracking job. As soon as he gets in the water, Matty can sense something's wrong. The tuna are flapping their tails from side to side. It makes a sound called fish thunder, a deep roar in the water. Something is making them nervous. Matty also spots another worrying sign.
I've got a couple of holes in the back wall.
Yeah, right. Must have had a bit of shark activity then, eh?
Yeah, I haven't seen them yet. Keep your eyes peeled.
A lone bronze whaler shark cruises the edge of the net. Matty calls in an armed escort. If a shark bites just one tuna, that's a potential loss of tens of thousands of dollars. It has to be gotten rid of. Shooting is a last resort. Damo's going to try and wrestle the shark out of the pen with his bare hands. Bronze whalers are unpredictable characters. It won't take kindly to having its tail grabbed. The shark could break loose at any time and inflict a serious injury. Damo wins this round. The shark is released unharmed. And the tuna are safe again. On the morning of day 30, a fully refueled Saxon S arrives back at the fishing grounds. Now the boats can tow a pen each and start moving faster. The journey home takes them to the edge of the continental shelf. The ocean bed plunges to depths of almost half a mile, and strong currents help the boats on their way. The tuna pens attract animals looking for shelter from the rough seas. Krill, small shrimp-like creatures, gather at the edge of the net. By grouping into a ball, these tiny animals manage to convince predators they're one big animal. Towing stresses the tuna pens, and there's constant maintenance to be done. It's exhausting work. Each diver does a 20-minute shift underwater.
All right, Service, I'm going to head down the back and do some knitting. I hope Grandma taught you well.
Holes in the net are proof that sharks are still trying to bite their way in.
Oh, hell, whose patch is this?
Nothing wrong with that patch.
Excellent. A bit more umbilical, please. Yeah, roger that. Gotta be onto it. Have to be in this industry, mate. Either lose a limb or lose a life every day at work. Get to go diving for a job, mate. It's a pretty good deal, I reckon.
Don't tell the companies that. It's all hard work.
Yeah, don't tell them we enjoy it.
After almost 6 weeks at sea, the crew of Kingfish has a visitor. Flies are a surefire sign land is near. It's been the longest trip any of the crew can remember.
Yeah, almost home. What's that? Jeez, been a long time.
What does it feel like to get home? Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing the girlfriend. Sick of looking at blokes. So yeah.
The sight of land has reminded Mika he needs to do his washing.
Okay, got me washing in the bag now. Now what I do is attach this rope. Just put a bow line in there. Right, there's no soap at all in here. What cleans it is the bubbles from your propeller. And all you're gonna do is grab this end or you'll lose it.
It's good science. The highly oxygenated water washes away the dirt and stains.
Then we just tie him onto here. Leave him for a couple of hours. She's good as done.
As the boats get nearer to land, the divers have another troublemaker to worry about. Fur seals live all along the coast. To a hungry seal, a pen full of tuna is like Christmas come early. But these animals are definitely not on the diver's gift list.
They're a lot smarter than sharks. They can find any hole and get in and damage the fish. So what we're doing here is lacing up the transfer gate and yeah, making sure there's no gaps for them to come in and damage our fish, because they can get through very small holes. So that's what we're doing now.
The weeks at sea have certainly taken their toll on Kingfish skipper, Mark. He's sporting a radical new haircut.
You get bored out at sea. There's nothing else to do. Gotta entertain yourself somehow.
Maybe it's nerves. As a first-time skipper, Mark's about to face his biggest challenge of the trip. The most treacherous part of the voyage is coming up. To reach the safety of Port Lincoln Bay, the tuna boats must tow the transport pens through a narrow and exceptionally dangerous passage. The headland is called Cape Catastrophe, and with good reason. More than a few ships have met their end on the rocks here. The skippers must time their run just right, set off too late or too early, and the powerful tide will sweep them backwards. Pete has navigated the passage many times.
You can get halfway through and you get caught out with the tides, and it'll either suck you all the way back out, or it can move you anywhere to the sides. You can get caught up near the islands or around the mainland.
Pete's timing is spot on, and they steam through without incident. But he's worried for his friend Mark. Kingfish is still a couple of miles behind.
Taxi, you're safe?
Yeah, roger, Pete. You receive me over.
Yeah, Roger, just wondering how you're travelling there.
Yeah, we're not travelling that well. We're still a mile from the gap here, so it doesn't look like we're going to make it through.
It's not the spot I wanted to be, but we just didn't have the luck on our side.
Kingfish won't make it through. Mark must keep a close eye on the depth sounder. In shallow waters, it's all too easy to tear the bottom of the pen. The guys usually take turns on night watch, but with over $10 million of fish on the line, Mark refuses to sleep. Just before midnight, he makes another attempt to navigate the passage.
Yeah, about 1:30 we should be in a safe zone.
This time, Right place, right time. By morning, Kingfish is in the bay and out of trouble. Mark is exhausted.
It's been a bit of a long day and a long night, but we're there now. Just slowed down with the tide, but we're a lot happier than we were yesterday.
They're almost home, but the job's not finished by a long stretch. The fish must now be transferred to feeding pens at the tuna farm. As soon as Kingfish is through the gap, word goes out to operations manager Robbie Staunton. After the fish are transferred, they'll need to be fed, and hungry bluefin tuna have enormous appetites. It's Robbie's job to be particular about what he buys. He keeps a sharp eye on things.
Nice fish, mate, nice fish. Pretty solid. Very good.
With every ton of sardines costing the company around $700 US, it pays to be picky.
Not too much water, eh? It's pilchard. Not paying for water.
The steer group must buy 66 tons of sardines daily. That's a weekly grocery bill well over $300,000 US. It's a 2-hour trip out to the tuna farms. As far as the locals are concerned, it's first in, first served. As Kingfish pulls her pens alongside, fisheries inspectors arrive to meet her. First, the fish must be sampled to get an average weight. Marcus has come out to oversee things.
We need to catch 40 fish and work out an average size, and then after that, we'll start transferring the tuna.
Calculating the average weight of the fish helps fisheries estimate the total weight of the tuna caught. If they think Marcus has exceeded his quota, some of these tuna will have to be towed 80 miles back to sea and released. Covering their eyes calms the tuna. So does gently tapping them. Nobody knows why.
616.
Fisheries enter the weight of each fish into their database. "40 fish later, and it's the moment of truth, the final average.
18.6.
The end is near.
But there's one more hurdle to jump. Now that they have an average size, fisheries will count the total number of fish. Multiply the two together, and it gives the total catch weight. Marcus is in trouble if he's caught too many tuna. Operations manager Robbie Staunton is back on deck. He's come out to help with the fish count.
We swim them through a gate with a camera. Every fish is recorded so we can determine our tuna quota.
Fisheries will watch the video in slow motion to double check for an accurate count. Damo cuts the transfer gate open. The last act of the tuna drama is about to start.
Boy, down!
These are nervous times for everybody. The final transfer is the culmination of months of work and planning.
Righto, boys, open the gate, open the gate. Let us pull this up.
A crane pulls the bottom of the transport pen upwards. This will force the tuna through the transfer gate. It's a start, but most of the tuna are too nervous to venture out of the transport pen.
What, you reckon push them that way? All right.
The divers can't chase the tuna. That'll make them panic, and the fish could scrape themselves on the net. A scarred fish is worth a lot less in the fish markets. Suddenly, the tuna start pouring through. The divers can't believe their luck. In the back of the minds, they're all thinking they might get back to port tonight.
A lot of hard work goes into this, and we're almost there.
Captured wild from the treacherous seas of the Southern Ocean, the journey of the southern bluefin tuna usually ends on a dinner plate in a trendy Japanese restaurant.
Close the gate! Close the gate! Almost over for another year.
With the tuna safely transferred, it's time to start fattening them up. Tuna are big eaters. For every pound of weight they put on, they must eat 15 pounds of food. With millions of dollars worth of tuna safely in the farm, Marcus heads back to port a happier and richer man. The guys on Kingfish are heading home too. They've made good money for their time at sea and can now afford a few luxuries.
Colonel Sanders gonna cook for me tonight.
There's only been time to transfer 1 pen of tuna. It's torture for the crew of Saxon S. Fortunately, there's been a beer delivery.
I wonder how many cigarettes it'd take to burn through this tail line.
Took Drew and I 4 hours to cut through one of these with his blunt pocket knife one night.
Really?
I won't tell you where, but...
Must have been bored. I know where.
After 6 weeks at sea, battling rough weather, sharks, boredom, engine noise, cramped quarters, and each other, the moment the Kingfish crew has been holding out for has arrived.
I'd love to be back home. Most I've smiled for a few days.
With friends and family on shore to greet them, the guys can finally forget about fishing for a while. On Saxon S, the beer is still flowing. And despite weeks of being cooped up together, the crew are still talking to each other.
I'll tell you what.
You couldn't organise a fart in a can of baked
At least
beans,
I
mate.
tried. Once we get off this boat, Stephen, I don't want to see you for another year. Yeah.
Whatever they say, guys like this have the sea in their blood. They'll be back next year for another shot at Australia's wild tuna.